The arrival fallacy is this idea that once you achieve a certain goal or reach a milestone, that you're going to have this everlasting joy and fulfillment or happiness that you've never felt before. And to take it one layer deeper, it's the idea that there even is somewhere to arrive. But that is the illusion. That's the carrot on the stick that you're programmed to chase. And sometimes you might even get that carrot, but you'll quickly realize it wasn't about that. It was about the chase.
But life is continued work. It's constant learning. The whole concept of retirement, I don't even buy into. You know, we should constantly be working, maybe not physically working, but we could be spiritually, emotionally working toward bettering ourselves and bettering the lives of others around us. So I get really afraid of those little comfort, those things that make us feel like, we did something great, because I've done nothing. I don't believe in getting comfortable just because everyone says you've arrived. That's not what it's all about. Once you compromise yourself in one way, you compromise yourself in another way. And you've just opened the door to,
I was at dinner with a friend a few years ago and he had sold his company for tens of millions of pounds. And there's one thing that he told me that stuck with me. He said, remember, the want is always better than the have. And I was 21 at the time, so I thought this guy is full of it. Give me 10 million and then I'll decide whether the want is better than the have. But with time, I came to realize that he's actually right. And yeah, I haven't experienced the £10 million exit yet. But what about the smaller things like the car I drive, the subscriber count I have, the followers I have, the guests I interview? It's always the case that the build-up is better than the actual thing. The truth is, if you're on this journey of mastery, you can never truly arrive because it's a constant evolution of self. Your idea of what arrival means will keep changing and the goalpost will always be a touch out of reach. And to be honest, that's actually a good thing. It keeps you pushing and breaking through barriers that other people would be content at. But at some point, you probably have to stop and ask yourself, what is it I'm looking for at each milestone? And I'll be real with you, most of the successful people I know or those who are on the trajectory of having massive success all feel like they have something to prove, myself included. But I know it's a void that can't be filled. No matter how much validation or external success comes my way, I get loads of messages and DMs and emails expressing gratitude for my work. And whilst I truly appreciate it, I understand that as that number increases, it's not going to increase my self-worth or my self-image because it's all internal. I mean, it literally has the word self in it. It's why you see those celebrities with riches and fame in depression and despair. It's because they anchored their idea of happiness to something external. And when they arrived, they felt emptier than ever because nothing was there waiting for them. Do you want to know why mastery is so admired in the first place? It's because it's the one thing that can't be borrowed, taught, or stolen. It has to be earned as a product of thousands of hours of effort, of iteration, and of honest self-reflection. My point is, we're constantly becoming and unbecoming. If you're doing this life thing correctly, then you're evolving and changing 24/7. I was once told you have no obligation to be the person you were 5 years ago, or even 5 minutes ago. Life has seasons, and if you're growing correctly, your character and your ambitions will change throughout. But we are supposed to change. That's literally the point of mastery. It's 10,000 iterations. There's this parable that the person that makes something today isn't the same person that returns to the work tomorrow. Because no man ever steps in the same river twice. The river is always flowing, so it's always changing, and the man is always evolving, so he's always changing. So what's the secret to massive growth without feeling lost when you actually win? Well, it's to romanticize the process. And the process is a special thing. It's this pocket of time that exists solely for the purpose for you to sculpt your identity. It's a game of continuously leveling up your mind, creating an impenetrable fortress and then planting the right seeds. So your actions begin to align with those of the ideal self. The self that has already achieved everything that it is you're setting out to do. Because that version of you exists somewhere on this timeline. But I'll leave quantum leaping for another video. Romanticizing the process means reducing your finite amount of attention and focus to the day-to-day instead of the one day. And contrary to the word, you don't actually have to love every single step of it, but you do have to develop obsession. Think about it, we don't love everything that we're obsessed with, but it rules our minds, and what rules our minds rules our life. If I've learned anything, it's that boring pays. Doing the same workouts, doing the same task in your business every day that moves the needle pays dividends, and if you can do it for a decade, then there's no way that you don't win. The issue is most people lose focus or they fall out of love with the process and fall out of love with who they're becoming. But again, if you look at the greatest minds, the greatest people, they all obsessed with what they did and eventually the world caught up with them. The truth is, you'll probably go unnoticed for a while. Everyone will overlook what you do and why you do it. They'll either underestimate you, make fun of you, or they just won't understand at all. Until one day, you make something that's so powerful, so impactful, that the world catches up and they'll say that you were ahead of your time. But in order to get to that moment, you need to be obsessed with the process. For example, I've written every single day for 3 years. I've posted thousands of videos, and I'm still yet to burn out. Why is that? Well, firstly, I'm not a Formula One car, so I can't burn out. But secondly, it feels like play to me, and Naval says this perfectly. Find what feels like play to you, but work to others. If you can gamify what you do, if it feels like a game to you, then you're in the right vehicle. But if you haven't found that yet, then it's just a matter of experimenting and iterating aggressively until you do. It's about uncovering where your intuition is trying to lead you. I've always loved film, and before I wanted to be a footballer, I actually wanted to be in Hollywood. So it's no surprise now my aim is to make cinematic, thought-provoking, artistic content. Your childhood obsessions weren't distractions, they were prophecies. But you have to decode them, and inside of you lies that natural curiosity, and if you let it drive you, then it will tell you all the answers you're looking for. So the thing about obsession is it transcends discipline because it comes from somewhere deeper. It comes from your soul. Those that are truly obsessed will win every single time. I like to look at examples of people who embody this perfectly and try and integrate it into my life. David Senra, the host of the Founders Podcast, was interviewed recently and he said, "I'm so far ahead, the game is already over. No one will ever catch me. I work on it 7 days a week. There's no way you're ever going to catch me, and that's because of this compounding nature." That's true obsession, and I like to think on a long enough time scale, the same will be true for me and it won't even feel like a competition. See, when you romanticize the process, you're outcome detached. It doesn't matter to you because you know the outcome and the results are just a byproduct of doing the work. Stop asking what's in it for you and just start giving, and then see what happens. They say the process is the prize, and I can't lie, it's actually true. Because when you enter that state of flow inside the process, there's no feeling like it. When I unpack this, I realize it's because the process is the purest form of self-improvement. Each stroke of the brush, each sentence typed, each video posted creates a new dimension of depth in your character. It sends a signal out into the world telling them that you are doing what you said you were going to do. And in this process, you become the person that is worthy of the outcome. And that's ultimately the message here. Think about it. Those who get it quick often lose it quicker. And that's because they skipped all of the necessary lessons and steps it takes to maintain that thing. The process is the only place that you'll learn to pick up these valuable lessons. There's usually a buffer in time before what you've been working for shows up. And this buffer creates the space to remove any unaligned beliefs and prepare you for the change that's about to come. Delays in rewards override instant gratification, but more importantly creates the space for your character to take its true shape and true form. In the Gita, which I often reference, it says that you're only ever entitled to the labor and never to the fruits. Romanticizing the process helps you shift your attention from the fruits. And the funny thing about life is the less you want it, the more likely it is that you'll get it. You become like a magnet. But when you're desperate and you really are relying on that external thing, your aura, your vibration, whatever you're emitting and radiating, demagnetized because it is one of scarcity. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't have goals or milestones or even nice things in your field of view to help motivate you? Not at all, and I think that's actually counterproductive. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't focused on any sort of outcome and I didn't care what people thought about my work and I didn't want people to share it and watch it. I didn't want my show to grow. Of course, I have a natural desire for all of these things and even the finer things in life like the cars and the watches and the travel. But the difference is, it's not my be all and end all. It's not my carrot on the stick. It's just one of many trinkets available to me as I continue down this road, and my entire identity and value is not determined by these things. I'm good with it and I'm good without it. My carrot that I'm actually chasing is unattainable. It's the next evolution of me, which will always be trumped by the next and new and improved version. Why? Well,
my hero's always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing.
So I'll leave you with this. Let go of the idea that you'll one day arrive. Instead, focus on the work. Focus on what's in front of you right now. Understand that it is a vessel. It is something that you mold and it molds you. And it's a gift that you get to attend to it every single day. Ask yourself what you can do today that will pay returns and dividends in the future. Ask yourself, how can you stay focused on this path without the distraction of novelty? And that's the formula to exponential growth. So let go of the idea that there's some mountaintop to arrive at and start focusing on who you get to become by doing the work you get to do. When you make this shift, then everything changes because your work becomes a lot more natural and your momentum will compound. View the end destination in your mind as already complete. You've already achieved those things. I read in a book recently, you can have anything you want as long as you already have it. So it already belongs to you. So why are you stressing? Get obsessed with the process and then it's just a matter of time catching up. By the way, if you're a founder or high-level professional or creator that's looking to break through to the next level of your life, then I work one-to-one with a handful of people every now and again, and my next cohort has just opened. If you want to reclaim your title as a conscious co-creator in this world and work with me one-to-one for 8 weeks to break through the internal barriers that you're facing, do a complete life audit, implement my business strategies and my thinking systems that help scale me to 7 figures plus in my businesses, then tap the first link in the description below. As well as that, I'm running some 90-minute strategy calls where we dissect your entire life and your entire business and we design a roadmap for you. There are limited spaces, so just apply, and if we're a fit, then I'll contact you personally. But anyway, make sure you subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my main channel where I host my show, and I'll see you in the next one.